Los Angeles. I haven't been making as many podcasts as I normally do, mostly because things have been relatively calm. I still have my PTSD freakouts, but I'm managing it. I'm trying to manage it as best I can. A lot has been going on behind the scenes, and I have been going out more. I have been putting myself in a position to enjoy life. For a while, I've just been frozen by fear, just fear of being hurt, being violated, and that fear is just very powerful. But I have been going out, I have been singing, interacting with people, or at least as much as I can, because oh my god, is that Clint? Hi. Wow. Long time no see. Is that a brand new account? Looks a little different, but well, good to see you again. Good to see you. I don't know if you were able to see the latest of my country songs, but I've been singing more country music, you know, doing that. But today I had to hop on because I got into a heated discussion with a fellow homosexual over this Jake Gyllenhaal and Superman movie where it's Guy Ritchie film, so it's an action film. Like Guy Ritchie, I love his films because they have a rhythm to it. Really, really good rhythm. And Henry Cavill is just a brilliant actor. So I like these actors, I really do. But in this one, they're gay, and as far as they were able to describe, it's a throwaway line as I love you, and then that's it. It's not a tender moment where they're holding hands. It's not a longing hug or a kiss or a sex scene. It's none of that. And it's true, to tell a story, you don't really need that. You don't really need that to tell a story. But if you're going to tell that kind of story, why do we have to have straight actors taking these roles? Now I know it's for the pull and everything, but I don't know. It kind of irks me. It kind of irks me because Jake Gyllenhaal already did Brokeback Mountain. He he already did his huge, love affair with Enos, or is it Anus? Anyway, either way, you can't top that. I think that's the pinnacle of what gay cinema is. And I know it's two straight actors and both of them illustrious careers, but for that moment, they made me believe it because they were good actors and the story allowed that. Do I need every story to be that? No, I don't. But I guess I'm a little tired of watching straight people pretend to be gay instead of saying, why can't gay actors just be gay on screen? Because if you're talking about the gay Guy Ritchie film, you know you're already going to lose money. But you went ahead and spent your budget on hiring Jake Gyllenhaal and Henry Cavill, and Henry Cavill is not cheap. So I don't understand it. Hi, VE Informity Post. Welcome to the channel. Welcome to the revolution. Clint is absolutely right. That that is the worst. That is the worst because I'm so glad you're in my channel because that's exactly the hypocrisy of it. I don't want to see straight actors in gay feature films, but then again, I don't want to see gay actors in my gay porn because they just turned me completely off. Like all of the recent porns lately have been super inclusive and celebratory of the LGBTQ, and I almost want to say, could you not? Could you be a little bit more discriminating just so I could get hot guys back on my screen? Because look, I sing as a woman, I sing and rap as a woman, whatever. It's just creative to me to do that. I'm not the type to put on the fishnets or wear a bra or anything like that. That's just not me. But the industry said, they were going in that direction, and I said, I guess I'm going in a time machine to watch only vintage. But I got into a fight with a gay man over this because he's like, I can't believe you would say all this. Oh, you're a fool. And by the way, I signed my long discussion with it as king of all gays. And he's like, how dare you call yourself king of all gays? And I doubled down and said, I am the king of all gays because I'm the only person I know of who is fighting for not gay tolerance or gay equality. I'm asking for gay autonomy. I'm asking for gay people to look at themselves in the mirror and say, I'm important to me. I'm important to my own community. And I have to respect myself to say, you know what? My gay dollar is a vote. My gay dollar is a policy. So when I spend my gay dollars at businesses that would, spit in your food if they saw you reach over and grab your partner's hand or heaven forbid kiss them, you need to be able to say I choose well. No frankenfooter here. Look, I love Rocky Horror Picture Show. I love it. And Tim Curry was absolutely the right pick. Absolutely. And as I'm trying to say, like I love Guy Ritchie films. He's my favorite director. I mean, if anything, I would love to work with him in an alternate universe where that would ever happen. But I don't know. He decided to make this bold move of saying, yeah, my two lead actors, they're going to be gay in this. Okay, that's what's going to happen. They're going to be gay. And he's not advertising this film. Like I'm on YouTube quite often. I don't see any ads. Like this is the one Guy Ritchie film that I almost say I never even heard of it. But besides, just being king of all gays, I'm trying to reach out to more men because men's health is being affected by our policies, our behaviors, our inability to talk to another man. I love having people like Clint and the rest of my crew in here because then I can talk about health. I can talk about the dehydration of men, how I had to learn from an Irishman that people call alcohol in Irish and Gaelic the water of life. That's what people think. Yeah, alcohol is wonderful, makes you feel good at some occasions, but it's just dehydrating you. We have a whole culture built around your health, culture around being poor is okay in a way. It's okay to have less instead of, well, if you have less and I have less, but together we have more. I don't know. I'm at this point where I want to just start doing food handouts to people because I just don't see why people have to suffer in a country like America where there's just abundance. There's abundance everywhere. You go to a grocery store and you see the date on it and it says, "Oh, that's today," or "That's tomorrow, that's a week of from now." And they just chuck it. They chuck it all. It's like, yeah, it goes in the bin. It's like, well, there's someone hungry right now and it's good right now. Why don't you give that to someone? And we don't have a law, a federal law. We need a federal law that there is no such thing as food waste in America. It's one of the things that I want to work on because the idea that food costs anything, that we put a dollar amount on food is disgusting to me. It's disgusting because that is a vital need. Sometimes, yeah, okay, if you want caviar, I can almost understand that because the amount of effort that goes into cultivating something like that is huge. However, if you're talking about basic things, milk, eggs, grains, corn. That stuff is in such abundance, they can't sell all of it. They can't sell practically any of it. If I'm being honest, I want to say what, 10 to maybe 30% of all farm produce is actually sold. You know what happens to the rest of it? It's in the landfill somewhere because it sits on a shelf and they put a markdown on it. They tell you it's buy two get one free, and yet still people don't go to the supermarket. They go to a restaurant. They go down to the bar. They do everything but buy food. But when they need food, it's, oh well, that'll cost you, $5 for a loaf of bread. It's like, really? Who else is buying this loaf of bread? Once it goes stale and hard, you're just going to chuck it. So I don't know. I'll leave it to the comments as I'll try and read some of it. Well, you have enough alcohol in life can start with just one bad choice. I'm going back to the forest. That's what me and Tiffany are working on. We have been looking for a good spot to start a shelter to get away from the madness. Or they put it in our animal feed instead of making compost to help farmers more with better fertilizer. These are things that we should be discussing. We should be discussing not just how much things cost, but what is involved in the production of it. When you buy something off a shelf, do you ever ask, Okay, did you use pesticide? Did you use herbicide? Did you use hormones? Did you use fertilizers? How often do you get infected? I've moved around a lot. So I think the last time I spoke to Clint, I was in California. I'm no longer in California. I'm in a state now where they had a confirmed case of antivirus. And you just want to say, shouldn't we be talking about this as a village, as a country? I mean, this is the bubonic plague, but with, you know, better PR. Oh, thank you for coming by, Clint. Welcome back. Good to see you again. I want to believe that the country is filled with intelligent people. The country is filled with people who understand that no matter what job you have, no matter what your education is, you have a role to play. Everyone has a role. Some people don't want to step into their power. Some people, are used to just being put down, being an office person, being just a father, just a husband. Simple things that you can wrap your head around instead of saying, well, you're a leader, you're a village leader, you're an elder, you have wisdom. And also sometimes you just have hope. It's a bold move to put yourself out there and say, king of all gays, or whatever you want to call it. You could be king of all iron workers, or king of all nurses, king of all doctors. But somebody has to step forward and say, I am responsible. I am responsible for other people. People want to put that responsibility on a mayor. They want to put it on a president instead of saying, I'm responsible too. I have so many choice words for those Canadian immigration agents who said, nah, you're American. Pretty much go back to where you come from. The Americans are putting people in cages and detaining them and, all of that. And I was upset because I'm not, being invited into a country which I respected for so long. But maybe underneath all that hurt that I feel right now, I also say they have a point. You live there, you have a voice there, you could change all this. You could save people, you could help people, you could speak about this issue. What do you do? I'm doing what I'm doing. I'm speaking about this issue, I'm speaking about a lot of issues because I live in a town where they papered every single thing with Chingalamigra, fuck immigration, ICE does not belong here. And I just want to have that conversation with these people, sit them down and say, okay, what is your immigration policy? What do you stand for? Can you say that? Can you say what you stand for and then codify that into law? Because if you dismiss ICE, who, by the way, always have the right to disclose any of their documents of all the things that they stopped because they said, nah, you're not in my country. But ICE isn't going to do that. No reporter is going to file a Freedom of Information letter to look that information up. So we're just left with all the bad press and none of the, oh, they actually do stuff on occasion. It's a wake up call. It's really a wake up call to people to say, who are you and what do you stand for? I got into this fight with this guy about this particular issue of inclusivity in the arts. But it goes beyond that, because if you don't see yourself as being a part of that, as steering the moral compass of these directors and studios, then you're missing out. It's a bold move to say to Henry Cavill, you're going to have to call this guy your husband. It's a bold move. I'm glad it happened. I'm not trying to put Guy Ritchie in a bad way, because I always support his films. He's my favorite director. He really is. But sometimes the issue goes beyond just having pretty faces on a screen. Sometimes it goes beyond big name actors. When we have little stories that Guy Ritchie does action films. So he's not going to tell the kind of story that Ang Lee did with Brokeback Mountain. But what if he did? What if it was a Guy Ritchie film, but it had that level of romance, drama, commitment? It wasn't just guns and jokes. And I know I'm simplifying the art, the masterful art that Guy Ritchie does, because no one does a film like him. But when you go that route, I don't know. I guess in a way I kind of want more, because for me right now, I'm out of it. I can't get back into entertainment, because there's too much going on in real life to say I want to escape. I want to abandon what is a critical moment in all cultures, not just gay culture, but all culture, are facing a pivotal moment where you have to say, do you have a voice here? Do you? Because it takes guts to be on camera and say, this is what I stand for, this is what I believe in. But you should be doing that, because you might come across a few people who say, I feel the same way. And now is the time to make policy. Now is the time to put your lines in the sand, because you have big things to discuss. We have the budget to discuss. We have inflation to discuss. I haven't been able to talk on camera for a bit, because I have my PTSD, and I've just been dealing with a lot. But the idea that the dollar fluctuates the way it has, and people are just, okay, uh, okay, instead of, no, that's a major issue. You're saying that the cost of living is increasing, so everything has to trickle down. Electronics get a little bit more expensive. Food gets a little bit more expensive. Rent gets more expensive, because the dollar doesn't mean that much anymore. When this happens, people say, oh, okay, well, I guess I'll have to earn more, instead of, no, I have to go without more. I have to go without more. I have to look at some of these leeches and vampires in my life and say, you know what? I guess there are more important things than you. I guess they are. And say a subscription to a channel or whatever. No, no, thank you. Paying for alcohol at a bar? Probably not. Because shelter, food, these are things that you need. There are things you want and then things you need. If you take care of some of those things, maybe those things that you wanted open up again. Maybe some of the happiest moments that you have are spent with other people instead of selfishly buying things for yourself. I have PTSD, so a typical night for me is I eat a meal and then I stare at the wall in silence. No sound, no television screen. I just, that's how I do it. Is it cheaper to do it that way? Yeah. Is it probably for the best? No. With this inflation that we have in our nation, we should be looking at each other thinking, well, there's got to be a way to save money if we maybe share a meal, maybe share a conversation, maybe carpool. How many people own a car that just sits there? Most of the time, it just sits there. Thank goodness for things like Uber and Lyft because it made people realize, you know what, I don't need to own a car. I don't need to pay for repairs and maintenance. I have to have that guaranteed, but I shouldn't have to pay out of pocket for it when I literally use it for maybe 1 or 2 hours out of the day. You go to the location that you're going to, and then you go back. And then that thing just sits there in a driveway or it sits there in a parking lot. Oh, by the way, if you put it in a parking lot, they charge you for it. Does that even make sense to people? The amount that you have to spend on owning a personal car when you could just rent a car for an hour and be done with it because the wrong pothole, the wrong insect on your windshield, anything, and that car will cost you twice, 3 times the amount that you paid for it. I have been, I guess, gathering myself to put a push back out into the universe, a push back into the universe to make changes, to realize that you do have a say in how your life is. You don't have to be miserable. You don't have to be poor. You don't have to be in poor health either. If you really want to make some changes in your life, you have to make some change. You have to be the change. I spent the majority of this month going out, enjoying myself, and that was nice. But I'm beginning to think that maybe next month I'll just spend it quietly, save that money, put it toward something else. My name is Ian Iliona. I'm an environmentalist. I'm a human rights activist. I'm a mutant. I'm a werewolf. Owl. I'm a veteran with PTSD from military sexual trauma. I am not getting any better. I had an incident where the owner of the restaurant slash bar that I went to, I asked her to sing a song with me. And at the end of the song, she asked for a high five. And I had a moment where I had to say, I really don't want to be touched because I have been sexually assaulted and sexually abused. So I really don't want to be touched. But then I also had the thought of this woman understands boundaries. And she grew up in a culture where people shake hands, people high five, they hug. It's hard to shake an American out of that habit. It's hard. It's necessary because this is how we spread disease. And this is how, in some cases, sexual harassment happens. But it's not impossible. And also, I don't want to discourage this woman from running a business because out of everything, no matter what, I have to say, this woman cared about customer service. It wasn't just, can you buy something else? It was, is everything all right? Can I do more? You know why? Because she understands that it's that connection. It's that connection that determines whether or not your restaurant or bar is even there the next day. Because I live in a town right now where things are falling apart. Every business is closing. Why? Because people are simplifying. People are simplifying and they're leaving. They're like, we don't want to do sleepy towns anymore. We don't see the value in that. We spend our time here, we maybe get a degree, and then we leave. It's like, I don't want that. It's like, I do. I like the idea that, this town is quiet and safe, and that they have this idea that in the summer, they reduce all speeds in the entire town and say, no, you can't drive fast because that means it's safer. It's going to be hard to not go to a restaurant or bar for the next month, but maybe that means that I'll podcast more or I'll make content for my channel. Something that, I don't know, I guess I've neglected to do because I've just been dealing with PTSD after PTSD after PTSD event, and it just becomes a lot. However, I think that's the right choice. Eh, maybe not forever, but I'm gonna spend more time enjoying my life. I put myself out there. People have, put themselves out there, and I don't know. Maybe I'm just not the type of person to be the life of the party. Not when I'm trying to save lives, and I have to be that vocal spokesperson for public health. It's that thing that it's an important issue, but people don't have time for until it's too late. And with things like hantavirus ravaging in small cases for now. I guess I have to take more time to tell people we need to make changes. We need to scan for the virus. We need to isolate the virus. We need to do something, but we can't just skip ahead to going back to movie theaters and thinking things can be okay. I love the entertainment industry, but you've got plagues. You still got COVID. You got plagues. Just deal with that, and then maybe that will still be there. I hope to see you on the next podcast.